Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in the South and our online audience tuning as well through our friends at iHeartRadio and also Amazon Music. We're glad you all could be with us as well. I'm so excited to welcome back my friend, Omegia Keeys. She wears many hats. You know her as a best-selling author. She's an actress, a content creator, and also a producer and director. She's given us great films like From Jim to James Crow, and now she's wrapping up 2020 with a brand-new film called Surviving America. We'll talk to Omegia about the year that's been 2020 for her, what it's been like for her to follow up From Jim to James Crow with this new project, let you all know what to expect, and also how you can be able to virtually watch the premiere that's coming up very, very soon. Omegia, hello to you, and welcome back to Conversations Live.
Hi, Cyrus. It is so good to be back.
Well, look, it is exciting to have you back. It's funny, the last time we had this conversation, we were actually sitting next to each other. Now that would be a very odd thing for us to do.
Right, absolutely.
The world has changed in just 1 year. I mean, so let's begin there, Omegia. We're going to get into Surviving America. How have you, because I was just saying to you as we were kind of prepping for this, you have finished up this film literally in the middle of a worldwide, pandemic. I mean, what has it been like for you to see, what's come from this year for you, as well as now being able to wrap up this year with something like Surviving America?
Well, I think all of us came into 2020 with a different game plan and had to just quickly adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was, one of the things I was literally going to film one of my other fiction projects, but because of COVID, I definitely didn't want to be around too many people, and I'm not one of those very big productions, which, a lot of productions just shut down right away, but by the middle of the year, they came up with their game plans, to have, I think Tyler Perry Studios sequestered people, and then some studios, they're doing regular testing and stuff, but since I'm a smaller production, it was like just switch up what I'm filming completely and keep it really small. And at the same time, we were also dealing with, the deaths of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all that. So that was sitting heavy on me as well.
Right. Exactly.
So naturally, it just did what it did.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I was going to say, you're right. And I think, unfortunately, because 2020 has so many devastating moments, and so many, I mean, we definitely don't want to forget all that's happened, because those names are not being talked about as much right now because of all the other craziness that's happening right now in the world. Was that kind of part of one of the reasons why you wanted to do something like Surviving America? And I should say, even before 2020, you had already talked about being able to follow up From Jim to James Crow. So, but considering all that's happened this year in the middle of the pandemic with, the calls for racial injustice and everything, did that kind of make it even more necessary for you to do this project?
Absolutely. It was my call to action. I mean, I had to figure out what I could do personally, because I couldn't get out there and, protest because, I'm in a high risk category. I can't protest in the middle of a pandemic, so I had to figure out what can I do to speak out. Yeah. And this is my way of doing it as a filmmaker.
And that's a great, I think, reminder for all content creators out there, ways that they can use their voice in a powerful way. So, I mean, first of all, I have to ask you before we get too far into Surviving America. I mean, as you mentioned, I'm also in what's considered the hot spot here in my home state of Mississippi. Our cases have gone up. Over half our state is under a mass mandate right now. What was that like for you to survive 2020 yourself, Omegia, with everything that was going on?
Well, it's funny because even though, I'm outspoken, I'm kind of a hermit anyway, so because I'm so creative. So
right.
It kind of left me, honestly, back in my own world. I was able to even dive deeper up into my mind and accomplish, just so much behind the scenes and preparation for years to come.
Wow.
It allowed me that time to slow all the way down.
Right. You know, it's funny. I said to one of my friends, Omegia, and I'm curious to see your thoughts about this. I said, you know what, and to kind of mirror what you said earlier, this may not have been the 2020 we expected, but it may have been the 2020 that we needed to kind of get us clear, to get us focused, and also to let us know what really matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I mean by, slowing me down and thinking about what projects really matter, what things in my life really matter. That's why, I got married in the middle of a pandemic and made it,
right.
Work for me. I did it virtually.
Right. Yeah.
But, the whole point was to, take care of the things that really, really matter.
Right. Speaking of virtual, of course, there was a huge announcement, as our listening audience knows through Amazon Music and iHeartRadio. Our audience in the South may have heard it as well. This month kind of began with a shockwave from Warner Brothers announcing that they're going to release their entire 2020 collection headed into the holidays as we're wrapping up this year, and then making them, of course, available virtually through HBO Max. You're going to be having your premiere virtually. Talk to us about that experience. It's coming up on Thursday, December the 10th, Omegia. We're going to get more into Surviving America itself, but what was that like for you to kind of make that pivot, as you mentioned? You mentioned, of course, having a wedding virtually. What was it like for you to now to be able to literally invite the world into this project through a virtual premiere?
Well, honestly, I think the virtual premiere opens it up. I had always been doing it where I always had the page and I was like, join us for the premiere, and then I would go back on social media and talk about it. So that aspect was already there just without the video.
Yeah, yeah.
And so now, with so many things going to Zoom, and, even Facebook has a profile where you can just go live on there through your business page and have an event hosted there. Everybody just kind of shifted. The business has shifted to allow the space. People now, it's the end of the year. People have doing everything by Zoom now, so it was an easy transition because people are already doing it.
Exactly. So true. And I had another content creator who actually started a web series this year, Omegia, actually literally about the pandemic, life during a pandemic. And so it made sense then everyone's filming in their home because everyone's in their home right now. Talk to us about that. Yeah, right. So talk to us about, because I did see the pictures on Instagram in particular, and you probably posted it other places where you were involved in the project Surviving America. Talk to us about how you were able to get this finished, even with everything that was going on.
Oh, from start to finish, we filmed majority of the project actually in the studio. And, we maintained social distancing within the studio. Our crew size was small. We brought people in to be interviewed, one-on-one. We were COVID-friendly as much as we can be, with taking the temperature, setting everybody in a room where we sanitized the room before we brought them out and sanitizing the chair and everything. So it was kind of crazy to do, after each person. But, it was necessarily. But the years leading up to Surviving America, I set myself in a position where once everything is filmed, it doesn't need to go anywhere else but for me to do it.
Yeah.
I learned how to edit. I learned how to do all those things. And, from even domestic seduction, that was my first feature film. And with that one, I at least learned how to put the timeline together back in 2006. So that was my learning from there. And then, from Shattered and then from Jim to James Crow, my skills just enhanced that I felt very comfortable with doing this all myself and not passing it on to anybody else.
Yeah.
So it just was the time after filming to sit down and do it all.
And I think, it says a lot not only about your work ethic, which has always been in question to me. I remember ever since, we just knew you as a best-selling author. You already had that work ethic. Of course, you had the background because of I think that kind of made that easier for you as well. But do you think that discipline, because, you said something that actually I've been pushed back on, Omegia. I have said, because, our business here with Conversations, we've had to make slight adjustments. A really big adjustment I had to make is that my whole travel schedule was canceled. But honestly, I've gotten more interviews that I've been wanting to get over the years this year because everyone is kind of inside. However, we have to admit that there are some people who they've been really blindsided by this year, and it's been hard for them to create. Do you think you were just built for this? I guess is my question, because even people I thought were strong and go-getters, this year threw them for a curve, and they have not been in that creative mood. Do you think because of your background, because of who you are, that kind of helped you to make that pivot when other people, as we both know people like this, who've kind of been just waiting on the sidelines and kind of stunned by this year?
No, you're right, Cyrus. I am truly built for this because, I wrote books 2 and 3 when I was in officer training.
Yeah.
So when things get crazy, I dig in even more and,
right.
Learn how to figure it out. And you remember, I was one of the first authors when ebooks became a thing. I was one of the first few authors that jumped up on it, and because I saw the future of it.
Right.
And before this year, I am an avid moviegoer. However, with the price of everything going up and, people not getting paid as much, I can see it coming even without COVID that movie viewership, actually going to the movie theater, had slowed down. So to me, doing everything online the way that it is no different from me back up in 2008. Like, hey, let's make an ebook. It's the same thing for me.
And I think that's it. And some people, unfortunately, I think people are caught off guard by what I mentioned about Warner Brothers, but I believe other people will be following suit because of this whole waiting thing. I mean, it's like, okay, what are you waiting for? Exactly.
Right, absolutely.
But would you also say, Omegia, and then we're going to get more into Surviving America, do you also think that is a big analogy for where a lot of people are in life? The reason why they're not moving forward, they're waiting for the perfect time. They're waiting for this opportunity that may never come, that instead of just taking those steps.
Well, I played sports before I went into the military, and time waits for no one. You got to be prepared when the gun goes off.
Yeah.
So you got to practice and get yourself there. You can't always just wait for the opportunity. You got to make those opportunities yourself. If you're steady waiting, other people are going to figure out ways to do it without you. I mean, it's funny because a friend was talking to me the other day, and they were saying that they admire me because from when they met me a long time ago, the fact that I'm still going. Well, it's because I constantly adapt. I constantly do research and look at different ways of doing things to try to stay ahead.
It's the way, and it definitely keeps you from being in a situation where you are having to wait on other people. As you said, you're able to keep moving forward yourself. I want to say for those who are just tuning in here, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome back my friend Omegia Keeys. She's a best-selling author. She's an actress. She's a individual you've gotten to know because of her film she's been able to do. Now she has a brand new documentary called Surviving America. So what is the premise of Surviving America, Omegia?
Surviving America is giving the oral account of basically reckoning with racial injustice in America through the lives and the eyes of the people that lived it. Like, when you're black in America, it's not just you being called the N-word that's racism. I mean, we've had different talks about this, and I had to break some of the stuff down to you even. Like, it's not just it's not just that, because you're my happy-go-lucky guy. And
right,
and it's not always somebody just calling you the N-word. It's systematically, it's deep-rooted. And some people that aren't black, they don't even realize that they're benefiting from the racist system. They automatically shut down like, oh, I'm not a racist. No, you're not a racist, but you're benefiting from it. So it's breaking all that down, into the simplest mindset, but through the actual people telling their stories of what happened to them. It's more relatable when you see that person that it actually happened to. You can't dispute that. You can't say it didn't exist when somebody's like right there, like literally my son was killed by the police.
Exactly. Well, it's interesting. One of the phrases I've heard this year, and you know me, I'm a little slow with some stuff, admittedly, and I don't remember ever hearing this phrase before, but I definitely heard it a lot this year, and that's white guilt. I've never heard that phrase before this year. Is that one of the things that you've been hearing more of because what made me think to ask you that is when you mentioned about someone saying they're not racist, but they are benefiting from the system. A friend of mine who I have a great deal of respect for lives in California. She, who is white, she this year had this. It's almost like an awareness or an opening, maybe I'll call it, of how she has seemed to benefit. She was one of those people who said, I'm not racist, and I never looked at her in any kind of way, but she's been very deliberate. I'll use that word, to be very aware of how the system seems to be built for her and against others. Is that something that you have been hearing more of this year as well, Omegia?
See, when I first did From Jim to James Crow back in 2017, back then, I discussed, the privilege and the white guilt and all the other stuff back then. So I lost a lot of the people that weren't in tune with that a long time ago. So the non-POC people that are still on my social media accounts, they're fully aware of it. And they're even the ones, and I applaud them, they're even the ones, like, if someone says something crazy on my post, they go harder than anyone else. Like, you are not about to say this. Like, even before I get a chance to read the message, they're just tooth and nail correcting people. So, I'm thinking it's not about, nobody's expecting you to feel guilty about anything, but what we are expecting you to do is recognize it.
Yeah. And I think, too, would you agree, well, I'll just ask you the question, do you think from what we saw this year, even though we've seen protests before, even though we've seen activism in place before, does 2020 feel differently on that front for you?
It feels differently where it seemed like more of the celebrities who wouldn't speak out before and everybody jumping on and even business and stuff, but it feels different in the way that it comes off like a fad, and I don't like that.
Got you. I get it. Well, I think, you and I, this is one of the reasons why I love our friendship over the years, Omegia, because I remember when you sat down with me with From Jim to James Crow, and I was sharing a bit of my experience. I'm a person who I'm very open to. I love to learn. I think that's one of the reasons why this show has succeeded over the years. I love to hear from people because I understand my experience is not everybody's experience. And I also believe strongly that everyone's voice needs to be heard. And so I was excited about your not only finishing this project, but now getting to this place. Have you been able to give yourself that pat on the back yet for finishing this? Because just your continuing on with this, Omegia, you would have had an out easily, as you know, because you could have easily said, well, I couldn't do Surviving America this year because of COVID. And people would have said, oh, that's understandable. Or I got married, and so I didn't. So have you had a chance to congratulate yourself on finishing this now?
Cyrus, I'm a busybody. I'm already working on the other projects for 2021, so I don't think until the 10th, when other people are watching it, I think, besides the team, I think that's when I'm going to give myself the pat on the back. Okay. Because
that's
I will
fair
actually
enough.
be in that moment for the premiere.
Got you.
But right now, I'm just still like, oh, my gosh, because I'm still doing stuff for it,
Right. No, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Well, and I think that's, too, the nature of who you are, too. That you are, again, how you were able to even to do this, considering everything else that you've been able to do this year, because you don't stop. And I think, again, that is an example. You have talked to me before, and I'm going to mess up the letter, so I'm not even going to try that. But when we sat across from each other last year, it's hard to believe. It seems like forever ago. That was literally. But in 2019, when I was there in Atlanta, one of the things that you talked about a lot was not asking for permission. Do you hope that what you've done this year with Surviving America and what you have planned will encourage other people to not have to ask for permission, especially women who are in the industry, about what they can do and when they can do it?
I think so. And I'm saying this because just from some of my posts, because, also with 2020, I became more social as well. And I think by me posting more and showing people that I am doing it instead of just waiting for the project to be done, I am seeing that people, as you said, women are watching and they're thanking me. And I do later on, because I still, pay attention to what other people are doing. I see them doing things as well, and I love it. I think they just needed to see somebody else do it to know that they can do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense because I think that's for so many people. A lot of people don't realize what they can do until they see somebody else do it. And I think that is such a great way to put it. So as we've been talking about here, Omegia, the premiere for Surviving America is coming up this Thursday. It's an interactive event that's taking place at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So walk our audience through. How can they be able to enjoy it, and what can they expect?
Okay, well, you can enjoy it by first you will have to go to the page, which is Surviving America, or the About Face Media page. And on that page, you can see the link that will allow you, to purchase your viewing for $9.99 to either watch it live on Facebook or watch it on Zoom. And we will be doing everything for the premiere. We'll have, some of the crew there. We'll have some of the cast popping in, and we will have, the SZB spotlight there, giving a Q&A as well. So it's still going to be everything of a premiere, but everybody else across the world can watch it and enjoy it.
And this is, do you see this, Omegia, as a side note? We're going to reiterate this, but do you see this as something you will kind of now bake in? And I guess I'm asking that because now it's like, you see like curbside service, for businesses. I never thought I would pull up to an Office Depot and then bring out my order, but now they're going to make this a part of their business model. Do you think this is something in your industry is going to become a bigger thing? And not to say you won't have the in-person events, but making them more virtual, making them more interactive so more people can be involved from the comfort of their own home.
Oh, I absolutely think this is going to be a thing because, you think about it, when they have like the Academy Awards shows and stuff, they have it in person, but they film it for people to view it later.
Right.
So it's the same concept except we're doing it simultaneously.
Yeah.
Well, so I think it's going to be a huge thing.
Yeah, I have bought my ticket. I'm looking forward to being able to watch the event. Again, it's going to be coming up on Thursday, December the 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time, the Surviving America premiere party. So what we were going to do for our audience joining us online through iHeartRadio and Amazon Music, we're going to be putting the link actually to the Facebook event so you all can be able to go directly there, be able to purchase your ticket, be able to check out the trailer and all the great things that are going to be posted there. And so to be able to keep up with the event coming up for Thursday. So I want to ask you this question, Omegia. For yourself, I know here we are at the end of this year practically. What should our audience be looking forward to after Surviving America?
Oh, my goodness. After Surviving America, I have 4 projects in the works.
Wow.
And just depending, and I did it this way because we don't know how long COVID is going to last.
Right.
So I'm just going to rotate through which one makes sense in the age of COVID to film first.
Got you.
And I don't want to really give too much detail about it, but they will be more of my fiction work.
Okay.
From dramas to romance to even crime dramas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that gives us something to look forward to. Well, that's a great segue then, Omegia. So how can our audience, again, stay connected with Surviving America online as well as stay connected with you?
All right. You can check out Surviving America on Instagram or Facebook under the handle Surviving America 2020. The publishing company is About Face Media, AFM, and to follow me directly is Meme, that's MEME Keys, on either Facebook or Instagram.
All right. Again, everyone, Surviving America is coming your way this Thursday, December the 10th, for our radio audience in the South, our online audience joining us around the world. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Make sure you guys make plans to be a part of the event, to be able to share the experience with the cast, and then, of course, be able to watch the event with SZB as well as he is taking you guys through this, too, at the after event. Omegia, always a pleasure to be able to speak with you. Glad we got a chance to help spread the word, and as always, looking forward to our next conversation together.
Thank you so much. Oh, and I forgot to say, I'm so thankful to everybody that is involved with Surviving America. The whole team worked so hard. I just forgot to say that earlier.
Well, look, I know they know you appreciate that, but I know they'll like to hear that as well. Omegia, keep up the great work, and definitely looking forward to speaking with you soon.
All right. Thank you, Cyrus.
Hey, more than welcome, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.